Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Dynamics Corner, the podcast where we dive deep into all things Microsoft Dynamics, whether you're a seasoned expert or just starting your journey into the world of Dynamics 365. This is your place to gain insights, learn new tricks, and hear from industry experts. In today's episode, a topic that plays a crucial role in cultivating not just individual growth, but also fostering a thriving and inclusive organizational culture. I'm your co-host, Kris.
And this is Brad. This episode was recorded on September 8th, 2023. Kris. Another wonderful episode.
Episode of what? No, you're not frozen.
Did I look frozen? Did I look
No, you look
I
good.
tried to play Frozen. No, another great episode. In this episode, we were able to talk about many things. The most important thing that we got to speak, well, it was all important, but one of the most important things we talked about, something you mentioned about, is the whole inclusiveness of the business-centric community and what we can do to bring in additional talent. With us today, we also spoke with the guest, who I'll name in a moment, about chicken and umbrellas. That's the stuff that you need to hear as well, is the chicken and umbrella story.
And maple syrup and Canadian stuff.
We touched it all. With us today, we had Khaled. You have to edit that out. With us hold on, go back. With us today, we have Khaled Nassra. There you are.
Grab my coffee.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
Well,
I didn't know if it was the back of the camera or the front of the camera.
No, my Teams was on, and I was blocking it. That's what I realized.
Teams always gets in the way.
Yeah. Right?
So it's good.
Teams is the anti-collaboration tool.
Sometimes
It's
it feels
ironic.
That way. Sometimes it feels that way. It seems to be a lot of times there are problems with it. The new team seems to be a lot better, though.
I haven't noticed the difference, but I like some of the avatar things they put in, and there's some fun tools in it. It is like a very comprehensive tool, so I do like it. But
Now, I do find the avatar, though, it's a little bit more gimmicky because the idea of a Teams is to be able to have, it's a virtual world. You want to be able to have a conversation, seeing face to face, and you slap in an avatar. Kind of takes away from that a little bit.
It is a great collaboration tool, but also in this day and age, it seems a lot of tools have those types of avatars, filters, and backgrounds. So it draws in a certain, the audience that's used to working with that type of stuff. It does make it gimmicky. It makes it fun. So it does draw attention to the application and show that you can use it more than just for business. It also shows that you can have a personal use for it too, by having, game groups or other play games on it or other things, and still have some of that fun stuff with it. So I can see the use case for it. But Khaled, welcome back.
Thank you.
Happy to have you back on again.
I am so excited.
I'm always excited. I'm excited to talk with everybody. If I could do this every day, I'd be happy. Or maybe not, because I think sometimes if you don't get to do it every day, then you could look forward to it. But if I did it every day, then maybe I'd get bored with it.
That's true. Distance makes the heart.
It makes it work if you do it every day.
That's true.
It is. But we're looking forward to speaking with you again today as a follow-up to our last discussion. But before we get into it, if you would, for those that may have not heard that episode yet, Kris will have to give a link to that episode, and they can go back and hear it. But could you tell us a little bit about yourself before we jump into this great topic?
Absolutely. Thank you, sir. I'm Khaled Nassra. I am currently the head of marketing at Binary Stream. I do say currently because I'm also starting my own business, and that's a really exciting part of my journey that I'm going on. I'm a very active and passionate member of the community within BizApps because maybe I started out in the SAP side. I know how valuable the community feeling is, and so I do try to nurture it as much as possible. So some of the initiatives I'm involved in are the local user groups, the Futures in Dynamics group, which is for early career professionals, and Directions for Partners, which is one of the preeminent conferences within our space.
Sounds like you're keeping yourself busy.
I am.
I think we need to have a conversation one time of time management, because there's everybody in this community that I talk with, we all do a lot. We all do so much. And it's just, how do you get it all done? How do you get things done? I think that's a good conversation of focus. I see so many different tips and tricks that people share or post about this is what they do to get things done. I'm curious to see how long some of these tips and tricks work for and what people end up with, because I've tried numerous tactics to manage time, and nothing seems to stick for some reason.
Sometimes losing sleep is part of that.
That's true.
The time management strategy.
Yeah,
you do it like 11 at night or midnight just to get it out of the way.
I haven't been sleeping well for other reasons, as you know, but I found that losing sleep didn't help with productivity. So I tried to have a regular, I said try because of some things that have been going on, but I try to have a regular sleep schedule, because I think I am more productive because I'm rested. It's almost working 11 hours a day doesn't mean that you are more productive than somebody that works 7 hours a day. It's a matter of what you do within the time that you're working. So if you're not rested, I do believe statistics have studies, I guess a statistic or a study can show everything, have shown that you're not as productive when you're not rested.
I think there are diminishing returns for sure. Like if you're not resting up, I think you know what it is. It's probably passion. Like when someone is so into what they're doing, they'll find ways to do it better, and then you have a lot of efficiency that you can create. Personally, like I color code my calendar, and so when I see something that is teal, which is my favorite color, I know it's related to product, and that's my favorite area to work in. And when I see something that is gray, that's usually a reminder I'm not so excited about it. So,
so you already start the procrastination before you even see it because it's color coded.
Yes, yeah. I'm like, I can ignore that. It blends into the background of my Outlook calendar. It's like almost exactly the same color as the background. So I'm like, maybe I can ditch that one.
No, passion does play a big part of it, and I think passion does drive the focus, which comes, I think, with a lot of the time management, is focusing your energy on a task to complete that task versus jumping around. But I think we should have a good conversation with that, because that was not what we wanted to talk about today, but we could go down the road and talk about it, because
my time is yours, and we can go on any tangent.
Look at that. See, his time is ours for the moment. That's great. We appreciate it. And that's what I say with everybody that we speak with. We all work in this community, and where, time is precious. Time is valuable. So we appreciate you, and we appreciate everybody taking the time, from your calendar. I hope we were teal.
I can tell you right now, I think you're yellow, which means it's external, and I need to pay attention to it.
Nice. Yellow means happy too, right? That's what it means.
Yeah, it's like the highlighter yellow, so it's extreme happiness.
Yeah.
So what other colors do you have? How many colors do you have? Do you have 5?
There's quite a few. There's red for out of office. There's blue for leadership. There is purple for meetings with my team. Actually, sorry, you're green, which is partnerships. I don't know why I put it as green.
Nice.
See now, he gave us like a little bump. Now you're green for partnerships. And it's like, yeah, I don't know why I did that.
You know what? I like that because I do pay attention to the green ones. Orange is operations. There's a whole system.
That's very cool.
That's very cool, but we got demoted. We were external, which we were happy. Then we got promoted to green, and we quickly got demoted to like, why the heck did I do that with these guys? I don't know.
No, you know what? Partnerships is something that is long lasting and repeatable, not like just one flash. And so because this is the second recording, it's green, not yellow.
Nice.
That's perfect. See, that was a nice recovery. I commend you on the recovery.
I'm just working at a spin cycle.
Yeah, that was good. So in our last conversation, and you talked about it a few moments ago with some of the things that you're doing and work on, and they all sound exciting, which we can dive into those a little bit as well if possible. The futures and dynamics. When we spoke last time, and we've had several other conversations about what can be done to bring talent into the Business Central community. What are ways that we can inspire or create interest and even educate new talent? And you had talked about at that point the upcoming Futures and Dynamics program that you were working with. So now I think we're ready to jump into it and talk about that, and also talk about the Dinosaurs in Dynamics program that we're going to start, that's going to dovetail from or with the Futures in Dynamics.
So Dinosaurs in Dynamics, I'm going to leave to Torben. I hope he's okay with me assigning the ownership of that to him. I think he's probably more in touch with that community. But I think Futures is going really well. We're starting to spotlight some of the team members that we have, some of the people that have shown interest. I believe we're at over 100 people who have joined the community at large, which is really fantastic. Quite a few companies have enrolled their members, which is great. And we're gearing up for November. That's when our big launch is going to be. Right now it is in Europe, but in April we'll bring it to North America as well and start engaging the community over here with Directions North America. And so it is shaping up to be primarily a mentorship and peer collaboration group, which I think is still good because we do talk a lot about recruiting new talent, but there's also retaining talent. Because, if you're someone who's really excited to work in biz apps, you join a company that works in Business Central and you realize it's awful and very dull, you're going to leave right away. And so we don't want any brain drain, definitely not going to like Salesforce or NetSuite or some of the companies that are marketing themselves well to younger people. We want to keep them in Business Central. And so retention is also definitely top of mind.
No, that's great. So Futures in Dynamics is a program that's accessible, or you can enroll if you are somebody that's interested in learning dynamics, or you're a member of the community, whether you work for a partner or a user or an end user or end user company. I forget what we call everybody these days. And it focuses on Business Central. So how does someone become enrolled in that?
Yeah, so we have a sign-up form. Anyone can go in and fill it out, and they become a member of it. We have the plan right now is to continue having monthly meetings. We might have a bit more frequency if there's a focus on like specific areas, or if people want to set up their peer groups on their own, like carve it out. That can be a bit more frequent, but they can join our calls and participate and learn from each other. And then share their goals with us, because we want to build this out in the open and build it collaboratively with the whole community, and not just like the 6 of us that are running the show. So it helps a lot with getting any ideas from people, any prioritization. So we can put the form in the show notes if you want, and or any way that people can access it, and just make sure that more people get to sign up.
Absolutely, we will put it in the show notes. But do you have a link to it that you can say now?
Yes.
What you can share.
I can't say it, but I can put it in the chat. It's a long link because it is a Microsoft Forms link.
Oh, okay.
Unfortunately,
we'll put it in the show notes then.
Yeah,
so
thank you.
I don't want you to have to read it. A question to ask for that. There's 2 questions. Is there a fee for anybody to join, or is it free?
Completely free. Entirely free. I think it'll be free forever. All you have to do is just be actively engaged.
So a question on the process of that, Khaled, do you have to be in the community already to join, or it could be someone that, hey, I'm just getting out of college and I'm really interested in, let's say they Googled and found, the site. It's open for anybody. It sounds like, and the idea is to match that person to maybe a mentor? Is that the goal in getting him, of course, a younger talent into the industry?
Yeah, absolutely. Like if your company is working in Business Central, that's great. If not, even if you're not in the space yet, this is an opportunity that's available. There are some really good learning materials, like what Microsoft just put out for folks that are in university and things like that that are available. But this is also a good resource for getting connected with the community, especially if you're not able to go to conferences yet. So part of what we're doing is there's still half off tickets for Directions EMEA. So anyone who is really interested in Directions EMEA is under 30, but their company doesn't really see justification yet in sending them there. Any tickets for folks who are under 30 are half off.
Oh, wow. I wish I was under 30.
Well, you can get a fake ID.
Good.
He tells everybody he's under 30. That's why
I'm 29
so
and a
he
half.
can have that. So go back with it. So it's free to join. Are there sponsorship opportunities available for anybody if they would like to contribute to support it at this point, or
not yet? We will be opening that up. We definitely need some sponsorship from companies, and so that is next step because we have to keep the business side of it afloat and make sure that we can do things like give 50% off.
That's why you need to keep people green, by the way.
Yes.
If you're looking for people to partner with you to help sponsor the Futures and Dynamics, you should probably make them green and not gray.
Yeah, you're right. And definitely not red.
Absolutely. For someone that's interested in joining, Kris had mentioned, I think, in a roundabout, what are the requirements? And part of that, you had mentioned the mentorship. If somebody wants to join because they're new, or if somebody is existing, like a dinosaur in the community, could they sign up to be a mentor?
Yes.
And then the third part of that, right? I'm going to pile it on you. We'll let you go. We'll let you let it rip after this. You mentioned assigning mentors to mentees so that the younger talent that's coming into the community can go through the process and learn and and feel comfortable in the community. How are those mentors assigned, or are they assigned, or what is the process for that?
It's not like a strict assignment. We kind of just join, and if people do find a match, if you find that someone is in the group and you want a conversation facilitated with them, we'll help with that. But it's not like assigned, strictly speaking, and you have to like meet or any obligation like that. We are leaving it fairly flexible because I think people learn and connect in different ways. But there's no requirement. If you feel like you want to join and you're over 30, then you can join as a mentor. If you are under 30, like Kris, so Brad, you can be Kris's mentor. And
young Padawan, listen to me. See, that's what you need to do. You need to have like a Jedi Master,
yes.
A Jedi Knight, a Jedi Padawan. Like I think we need to. Then you can see. We talked about teams at the beginning with the avatars and how it draws and attracts different community members based upon what they're used to interacting with or what they like to interact with. Now we could do the same thing with your ranking or level within the Futures and Dynamics group. But not to say this, but how many in the Futures and Dynamics, if you're targeting under 30, remember all of the Star Wars movies? I mean, I guess now Disney does play. They have spun off quite a few series, so I guess they do know it, but maybe not the originals.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, I don't know if Star Wars is the best way to reach out to people who are not already looking at like nerdy business. But
Generations lost by one of the greatest
yeah
trilogies at that time. And here we are. Now it's like it's no longer an interest to anybody under 30.
Maybe we have to do like the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Oh, don't even get me into that. They killed that universe.
Well, after Endgame, it's
just gone downhill. I tried to stay with it, but they killed it. But to go back, so you leave. Somebody can join to be a mentor. if they're over 30, I guess you're an honorary mentor regardless. And then you have younger talent that's looking to get into the community or starting out into the community, and you leave it to them to build a relationship. And maybe the mentor and the mentee, if I will refer them for the sake of the conversation, they'll find each other, because that way you can find someone that you can communicate and feel comfortable with.
So with that, considering in dynamic space, there's, it's an entire product, a family of product, right? So getting into the dynamic space, you have to figure out, okay, where am I going to be? Is that also taken into consideration of like, hey, I'm new, I'm under 30, my first time being in dynamic space, I really don't know where to begin? Or they can say, I want to be a functional consultant. Is it kind of matched that way, or just kind of like,
We
how does that
haven't
work?
thought about that actually, but that's an interesting point because, I mean, we do want to open it up beyond Business Central and beyond just functional consultants. I'll be honest and say, like, most of the people that we get are consultants, because I think that's the people who are usually at these events and hear about these initiatives. But yeah, I definitely see a future where we carve it out more by path, where you can get like some career guidance. You can carve it out by platform, especially if people are interested in like low code and Power Platform. That's going to be slightly different from Business Central or from CE or finance. Or maybe someone really young wants to go into Nav and AX. I don't know why they would want to do that, but maybe they do.
I don't know either.
Because when you're looking at it from a mentorship, you want to get them in a right footing. So coming into the dynamic space, it's really important to know, okay, which direction you're going, because there's a huge difference between like a developer and BC versus a low code, no code. You still have to understand the infrastructure, or even a functional component, right? You still have to have a knowledge of business as well. It's not just coming in there and be a consultant, that I think that would be very helpful to help them guide through that.
That's one of the toughest parts, working with consultants or individuals that are looking to come into the community. I think you can teach the application. The application has many paths for many processes. Even if you look at simple sales order entry, order to fulfillment, there's many different paths you can take. There's many different setups, and I think you can teach it through it. It's teaching the business knowledge of, okay, I have a requirement from a customer or from a person looking to use the application. Now, how do I solve that business problem applying the application? Because it's almost like taking the building blocks within the application, stacking it together. So it's just a couple onto your point. But I think it's great to have an avenue for the community to get together to try to feel comfortable and have somebody that they can talk with and ask some of these questions. I think that's one of the things that I found before where it was lacking. A lot of consultants work alone, and I don't mean they work alone because they don't work with a partner. They don't work. I mean they work alone because sometimes it's almost like they feel that they should have to solve the problem on their own. Versus what I say often is, sometimes if somebody asks me a question, my responsibility is to get them to the point where their question can be answered, or to find them a solution. I kind of said that out of place. My responsibility may be to get them a solution, but it doesn't mean I have to come up with a solution. If I can get them in touch with somebody or work with someone else to get them the solution, then my responsibility is met. I don't have to know everything. I'm not expected to know everything, but I need to know where to go and who to talk with, or go online, like with Microsoft Learn or something, to direct them to find the information. So
yeah, and I think that would show maturity in your mentorship. Like if you can tell the person,
I'm a dinosaur, Khaled. But I'm
we
mature.
agreed
I'm
that
mature.
you're 30 and one day, and Kris is one day younger than 30.
Yeah.
So
Perfect.
But it's maturity in the mentorship, which is important. But I think it's also important to instill that in the new talent that comes in, that it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to, not have to know everything. And I think that is something from what I've experienced in working with members of the community, with our community and other communities, is something that goes a long way.
Yes, I think like too often, sorry, people who are new to this community, they'll see everyone knows everything, and they'll assume that they have to know everything, and that creates a lot of like feeling imposter syndrome, and maybe they're trying to like lose sleep because they're trying to stay up and learn everything in one go and feeling like they don't know enough. No, it's totally okay to go at your own pace and learn. And if you don't know something, ask for help. That's why it is a community. And I think that's the biggest strength of it. So, totally agree.
And nobody knows everything. I think there's the appearance that a lot of people know everything. I think they know, some people know a lot of things well, some people know some specific things well. But within this platform or within this space, things are being changed and added every single day. It's physically impossible, I think, for one person to know it all. I just, it's
That's another learning avenue. Is you could learn by asking, and it's okay. And what I worked with someone, I think it's several years ago, about a decade ago. It's like a great consultant knows to say no, right? Like, or even from a professional standpoint, one of the most important things that I've learned being a consultant is saying, owning the fact that your answer may be, I don't know, but let me get back to you. It's like it's almost like you're swallowing the pride a little bit, but it's at the end of that, letting a customer's like, I don't know, is a eye opener. Because with Business Central, is what Brad was saying, is that there's so many new features are coming that it's really almost impossible for you to know everything. And it is okay to say, I don't know, but I know, and you can say, but I have a lot of team members that can help and get that answer for you.
Yeah, I think that's just being a normal human. Honestly, we, for some reason, like have an idea that the users and the partners in the space are very like they're all suits, hollow of any other personality. And you see this with a lot of like marketing, right? They're like, grow your money, reduce the time, and they don't talk to the person at all. They're not like, hey, spend more time on your hobbies or with your dog or something. They're really focused on just like the two business goals. But I love this new trend where we are realizing that business applications are sold by human beings, they're bought by human beings, and we should just focus on that and not only focus on the like very corporate approved messaging.
Yep, I agree.
I won't say anything. I always have a comment for that, but I'll stop. But so back to the futures and dynamics. You said you have over 100 members, and you've done a soft launch, I guess. Is the website available yet?
It is on the dynamics for directions for partners.com. If you go on the login side, you can access the group, and it's futures and dynamics. So when you hit login, you'll go to community.directionsforpartners.com, and in that you can find our community. So it is on the online portal, and people can join it.
Oh, great. And on that portal, do you have chat rooms, as I call them? So yeah, they date myself. We'll go back to chat rooms. We have chat rooms. Is it forum based, chat based?
It's a forum.
Forum based.
Yeah.
Not that Teams real time chat yet. With the
Not yet.
avatars.
We do have a group chat, but not as well oiled as it can be.
I'll take time.
No, it's good to get it started, get out there, because then you can see what works well with this futures and dynamics community to help foster the growth of the program, and what is going to pique the interest of the talent under 30 that you want to draw into dynamics to get them in there, which is good. And you said you're doing the launch in November, so I'm assuming the official launch is going to be at Directions EMEA. That's excellent. What is, with the members that you have now geographically, is there a predominant geographic region, or is it spread out throughout the world?
Yeah, I would say it's probably mainly in Western Europe right now. We do want to spread it more and more, and North America is, of course, the focus. I mean, I want more people around me, and so that's what I'm focused on right now. At least get more people on a Pacific time zone, so I don't have to meet at 5 a.m. every day.
No, we only speak Eastern time. That's what I say to everybody.
Well, 8 Eastern. There you go.
Okay, 8 Eastern, it works fine. It's Eastern. So you had started this. Did you? Who is there? Anybody else that does this with you?
Yes, yeah. I should not take all the credit at all. Really, this is Elliot Poulter from Bamboom Cloud, now PAX 8. We have also Renee from Bamboom Cloud, Matt Batterby. Hopefully everyone knows him. Also PAX 8. I'm realizing we have a lot of PAX 8s. Adam Stewart from Microsoft, and a couple more people who are helping from Microsoft, but kind of behind the scene. And it was really kind of initially envisioned by James Crowder from Directions, and Torben Kragland from Directions.
And he didn't want to start the dinosaurs in Dynamics.
He did not. I mean, I'll talk to James and Torben and see if they're willing to do it, because I think we need like an offboarding.
Futures in Dynamics, kill the dinosaurs.
Like, hey, time to sail into the sunset.
You got futures and you go past of Dynamics.
See, yes. I wish next time we'll have to do this. Heinrich, we could have had come on, Kris. Henrik, I was saying everybody's name wrong. Have him come on with the dinosaur chat. Now we're being put out into the pasture. Just go in the backfield over there, and the futures is here. The dinosaurs now. It's the offboarding of the old town.
No, they'll put us in the museums. That's what's going to happen.
Kris,
everyone can watch.
You're not even close to a dinosaur. You
are. It's the legends in Dynamics. There you
go. The legends in Dynamics, that works well too. So
and they just put you in a plaster and a poster somewhere. That's what's going to happen.
No, they forget about you, Kris. That's what they do. They just send you in the back and they forget about you. This is okay. This is okay. I like the futures of Dynamics. This is going to push me out into the ocean. There's no longer a space for me.
It's an inclusive group. If you feel like an early career professional and you want to add to the vibrance of the group, please join. I mean, we have the 30 years cutoff, just because you kind of have to have a cutoff. Otherwise, it's really hard to determine. But I would say anyone who feels like an early career professional should join, and anyone who wants to continue learning should be a part of the community.
So with the futures and Dynamics, we've been talking about what it's doing and having some jokes along the way, and I hope everybody understands that we like to laugh and joke in this community. We have to have a good time with all we do. What is the underlying mission of it? We talked about what it's doing. We talked about what your target audience is, but what's the ultimate goal or mission for Futures and Dynamics?
Inclusion. Honestly, we want to encourage more people to continue growing the community and make sure that this kind of conversations like this can continue. And if it is isolated to just a small group, that's fine, but we want to grow it more and more, and that helps all of us win more. So if you get a diversity in opinion, if you get a diversity in ages, you're ultimately growing the platform that we all build on top of and the community that we're all a part of. And so that's the number one mission. I don't think that futures alone would work. That's why there are initiatives like Women in Dynamics, and we're trying to grow more and more, because anyone who is not traditionally thinking about this community should be kind of finding a community that can support them. I think an interesting way to think about it, like for me, I didn't have anyone in my family who was in software or in business applications. I didn't really know that this career path exists. I thought, like, if you go study business, You can sell, I don't know, like Kellogg's cornflakes or something. That was kind of like the thing that I thought of when I thought of like marketing executives. My dog is being crazy, by the way. That's why I was carrying my shoe. She grabbed my shoe
Nice.
and brought it to me, but that's why I'm looking all over the place.
Is your
But
dog in the Futures and Dynamics group?
she's 5 months, so she is under 30 years. I think in dog years that is under 30 years. But she definitely has that like young energy stuff, so she fits. But what I was saying is, like, if you don't see an example of where you can go, it's really hard to kind of envision the plan. A lot of people can, but not everyone will be able to think, okay, this is where I want to go, this is where I want to build my career to, without having ever seen an example of the roadmap. And so that is the main thing that we want to build. You can tell she is just all over the place right now.
No, it's okay. That's why we
It's
record these.
yeah,
So we can
it's all
get the
it's all good.
excitement. What's your dog's name, by the way?
Her name's Ocean.
OSHA? Or
Ocean.
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 We had OSHA. I know OSHA is.
Actually, if you guys are okay, I can go put her in the crate, and that might help us have a more productive conversation.
If
Is
you
that
like,
okay?
It's up to
Yeah.
you. You can
It's-
have her
I'll take
Ocean
it from my-
participate, or if you would like to put
I
Ocean
don't
in the
want to
crate.
lose my fingers with her biting them.
Oh,
all right,
okay.
sounds good.
Just treat her like she's a dinosaur in Dynamics,
Yeah.
and just take her out to the
There you go.
pasture.
Look at this. Oh my god, she knows. She knows she did something wrong.
Oh, this is hilarious.
No, it's good. I think now this is where you should be playing on the podcast music. You can't
yeah,
have copyright music, but you can have some copyright music, but you could have something like as we're
being
passing
put out
time in
into the
ocean.
pasture.
And then at the end, when he comes back, we'll do a.
A little bit of violin.
Yeah, no, it's good.
That's too funny.
I think you should join the Futures and Dynamics group and become a mentor.
That'd be interesting, and I think Khaled mentioned about starting this career, and I'll share a little bit about my experience about that, because I know when I first started being introduced to Dynamics, I came from a different ERP system. My career was primarily in the IT space, but I didn't know anything about the dynamic space. So when I first got introduced out of necessity, because I was asked to implement dynamics, and I struggled finding, some mentorship or a path of like, how do I make this into a career? I enjoy it. And it was very difficult finding mentors. And this was 2006, 2007. And so coming into it was a struggle. And I was lucky enough that I had found out through a partner saying, hey, there's a user group that's being put together in your area. And that user group was like small. There's like 10 people. And all of those members were clients, users of Dynamics, not necessarily the career path for, I want to be a consultant, I want to be working for a partner and implement this product. And so it was really tough. And I think it took several years. And then I think at that point I decided, you know what? I've done enough of this. I can just be my own consultant, right? You became independent and just, what the hell? We'll see what happens. And then eventually coming across, working for multiple partners as independent. But it was a struggle. Now that you have all these futures of Dynamics, it would certainly help people that are maybe in the same shoes that I was, back in 2006. And I think this is a great program that you guys are putting together, because you're missing good talent, and someone just needs to be able to help and guide them towards a good future, a good career in this space.
That's so good to hear. Yeah, I was gonna ask you about user groups, but I think that's another really good area, because even just feeling like a community exists is so nice. I'll say, like, I had a similar kind of epiphany. I of course started in Dynamics a lot later, But my first time kind of feeling like there's a community was at the BizApp Summit in Atlanta in I think like 2018, and I went there and I saw people with blue hair, people with like purple hair, and I was, oh my god, there's like people from all walks of life in this Microsoft community. Because I was imagining like typical management consultants who all look exactly the same, who all behave exactly the same, even part their hair exactly the same way. Like I thought there wasn't room for me, and just being able to see it like that there is so valuable, and that establishing that human relationship that we kind of touched on, I think it's also important because then you're not spending 8 hours with strangers. You're moving them up from the gray to the green, and they're becoming partners. And I think that's like kind of the goal is to make it feel like home for more people.
With you had mentioned the user group, which has that comes into to play, and I asked the question about the application sometimes. With how many features do you add to the application before it becomes unbearable? It's the old how many it's the grains of rice you put on a plate, where ultimately you put another grain of rice and it all falls over. When it comes to user groups, forums, and when in other forms of communication amongst talent within our community, is there a point where there's too much? Because there are a lot of conferences that can be attended. It's difficult for everybody to get to them all. Some of them are concentrated on technical, some of them are concentrated on customer specific or application specific usage, some on development. And then I see several other user groups coming into play where they try to have online and in person meetings. Is there a point where it becomes overwhelming, where there are so many, where we could muddy or murk the water? Murk, is that the word? I don't even know how to speak anymore. I'm old. Where we could muddy the waters, where we actually dilute the community versus bringing it together to make a stronger and bigger community, because we have small pockets. And oftentimes I see some of these and participate in some, and it is a lot of times the same person over and over. But when you're looking for assistance, when you mentioned like mentorship or questions, where do you go? Right? Like you can think of these forums. Back when I first set out, there was only one. And as time progressed, then somebody added another one. And then now we have another one. And now conferences are popping up all over the place. And, you can pick a time, which we can talk about. I want to ask you if you're going to Summit as well. We can talk about that too. There's a conference one week, then the next week there's another conference, and then the next week there's another conference. How do I know if I'm new to this community? Where do I go? Where do I spend my time? I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say.
I do. And, I mentioned Salesforce because I do admire the way they build community. I think it is very cohesive. Everything is centrally controlled. Like even for someone who's not in the Salesforce community, they have the whole like Ohana means family thing, and Mark Benioff is very enthusiastic about building the community for his platform. And they have Dreamforce, and people get tattoos of the Salesforce logo. That's how much they love it. But I think
you should get a Business Central one.
I don't know. There was someone who built in their ceiling, they built the Business Central logo. Do you guys know who I'm talking about?
No.
No.
I would like to see that.
I saw that. I don't know if it was KB or someone in Europe. I know for sure. It's like one of the MVPs. They built like a drywall structure in their roof, in their ceiling, that looks like the new Business Central logo.
Interesting.
I'll try to find that
until they change it.
And yeah, and then they're gonna change it again.
That's why you can't get a Business Central tattoo, because they will change it on
That's
you.
true.
And your tattoo will be dated. But to go back to the conversation of, is there a point where there are too many user groups with a community of this size, too many conferences, too much information to where it's information overload, almost to the Kris and I talk about like analysis paralysis, but it's the other way, where you have so much to do or so much to see, you can't make a decision, you become paralyzed, and you don't move forward into the community.
I think we need some centralization Maybe we're due for like a bit of consolidation across all these groups. The problem is everyone wants to do it. There isn't like an umbrella from Microsoft, and I think the onus is on Microsoft to kind of like at least like package the message for everyone and have some consistency. Like, okay, now we know at Directions EMEA you get the winter releases, and at Directions NA you get the summer releases. But now we also have Dynamics Con, and we have Dynamics Minds, and we have like a million, and Cavallo now has a conference. Like every single company has their own conference, and so I think we do need a bit of consolidation so it's easier to find the information. But at the same time, like having all these different pockets, that's also okay, I think, because you don't have to go to every single one. If you kind of choose your niche, if you go to the PNW one and that's kind of the user group you'll always go to, invest in it, invest in knowing the relationships around it, and kind of choose your path. And you have to be okay with not feeling FOMO, but it's hard. And for new people, I know it's even harder because they don't even know about the conferences. And then they find out about them later, and they're like, oh my God, I missed out on this thing.
Yes, that's what I was getting at, is the paralysis from missing out, or which one do I go to? And it is tough. And I myself do hope and wish that everybody that does come up with these conferences or user groups figures out a way to have some sort of synergy or collaboration between them all to help guide talent to the correct place. It's so similar, we talk about with forums. You have forums outside of Business Central, for example, but forums, and even just on the internet, they're usually topic based or area based or function based. If we could somehow do that, then it's not seeing the same questions maybe in 45 different forums. It's, or posting one in one and never getting an answer and then going someplace else, or even just trying to keep up with them. I know myself, I try to participate in the forums from a support, I don't want to use the word support, but to participate, to provide answers. But it gets difficult because it's now, which ones do I look at? And you see all these questions and all these posts. It's all over the place. And which one should I join?
Yeah, which one should you focus on?
I just saw a new one yesterday that I think Shannon Mullins posted. And I was like, there's a new group, and it's like an ask questions, get answers to them, Business Central, like LinkedIn group. And it's like, that's great and awesome, but isn't that what the like forums are supposed to be? But maybe they're not. So I totally hear what you're saying, and I don't have an answer other than I think there should be some centralization from Microsoft as the like mothership. But
I think we should start a new user group called Centralize the User Groups of Business Central.
The irony.
Oh my God. You guys in the States only have 2 political parties, but
no, we don't. We have a lot more than 2. Publicly, we have 2. I think if you look,
that is true.
There's different colors.
I was going to say in BC, we have quite a few, and for a while they kept on getting like the New Liberal Party of Canada, the new Liberal Party, and it's like different people kept on coming up with them, and they would have like one title, and their alliance, like their allegiance, is completely different. That's what it feels like. Is like there's a bit of a power vacuum, and so everyone is starting to create their own thing, and that's why I was saying I think because of the power vacuum that is created by Microsoft not doing things like Convergence or BizApp Summit or things like that, we do have everyone kind of vying for power. And we even saw when Community Summit and its first iteration kind of went away after their acquisition, we got 3 or 4 different people trying to say, oh, we're the official like sequel to the user groups. And it's like, which one is the official sequel? It's hard to know.
No, it is.
It's almost though, it's if you're someone that's trying to get into the space, I think one of the things that I had focused on is, is there, you just pick a forum, you find the biggest traffic, and then maybe stick to that. You get more information. The second thing that I was focusing on at least in my experience, is local. Is there one closest to me that met my requirement of pushing myself forward, learning something out of NAV or Business Central? And so to me, that was a big focus, because I need to go somewhere where I can meet people. And, of course, you can't do that in forums. You can chat, but it's different. And then, of course, I think at that time, I think it was 2013, they had a summit in Seattle. I think that was like the first and only time that they were ever up there. But, and that was amazing. And maybe the focus is there, just it's on your responsibility, I guess, the person's responsibility to pick which one. There's definitely so many different options, but you got to choose. Hopefully it's the best one.
Yeah, and you have to be okay with the choice. And maybe if you try it out and don't like it, that's okay as well. I know you mentioned Seattle, so I'm gonna give them a plug. There is the PNW user group coming up. Are you going to that?
September 13th.
Yeah,
I'll be there. I do have a session administering Business Central. Yeah. They gave me a spot, which is nice.
That's very nice.
Okay,
That's
so
awesome.
here's a fun fact. This is a fun fact. So the same group of people back in 2012 or 2013, where we first started the Pacific Northwest chapter of the user group, or the NAVOG, are the same people are doing this for the PNW Dynamics user group. So it's kind of like a weird full circle that we're all coming back together in this new, same kind of platform. I mean, not the same platform, but the same idea, just a different, maybe brand or whatnot. But the idea is to still educate users, right? Regardless of which banner that you're maybe flying under. But that's a fun fact. That's a fun. I'll be there for sure.
So you're saying you're the official sequel? This is what I'm hearing you say.
Maybe, I don't know. Someone had asked me hey Kris, you're in that area. Would you like to speak? And I was like, absolutely. When and what topic? So I'll be there.
Now I'm extra sad that I'm missing it. I was hoping to make it, that I want, but I'm relaunching our Vancouver user group because, in Canada we have a really strong community, but not like active anymore, I think, because of everything that happened. So maybe that's what it is, Brad. Like maybe you do need to create your own community, and we'll thrive by having so many different pockets because everyone can create their own user group.
That's interesting. That's where, and I think it is interesting. It's an interesting concept. I think creating the pockets, but having some sort of connection between all of the pockets will help it grow, because there is the benefit. We talked about this with conferences, I think, before, to having in-person talking, in person. You feel part of it. Some of the stuff works online if you can figure out a way to have those micro doses as we need now to keep the attention versus the all day thing. And then you have all these small groups, if you can figure out a way to get them to communicate and overlap somehow, where it helps grow the community, because it is tough to have something that encompasses the world. So maybe that is the way, is to have something to, like you said, you need the umbrella. Like you said, it does come back to, you need the umbrella where all of these user groups and conferences can come up under. And I don't know, maybe we should start that. We should start like I said, it's the Dynamics Communities Centralization User Group.
Yes, sponsored by Star Wars.
You'd only get dinosaurs then. So I don't know. Okay, Khaled, thank you very much for taking the time to speak with us. It's always a pleasure speaking with you. Oh, but I did want to, I'm sorry, you shifted me when we talked about Summit, which is coming up soon. Not Summit, yes, Summit. Jesus.
There's so many.
The brain.
Which
it's
one?
The brain. Community Summit, NA. Are you attending?
I am attending. I'm presenting a couple of sessions. Still need one of you to join me for one of my sessions. I think Kris is gonna be you, but
Yes.
Yes.
amazing. Yeah, so we'll have an e-commerce session on Wednesday at 2 p.m. I want to say, and then at 8 a.m. I have an ISV's guide to the cloud session.
Oh, that would be excellent.
Yeah.
So you're doing the Ask the Experts with
I am.
e-commerce, and I think Kris, you're going to join him on that. I'm doing another experts panel at that time, so unfortunately I won't be able to join. But so you have a couple sessions. I'm looking forward to seeing you there, talking more about the futures and dynamics, as well as some of the other things that we could do called centralization and dynamics. I don't know, I'm just making this stuff up now.
I'm really looking forward to it. Honestly, I've never been to either of the Carolinas. I don't know if there's difference between the two. This is
There's
my
the North and the
ignorance
South.
starting to show.
There's
It's
North
right
Carolina
down
and
close
South
in the middle,
Carolina.
though. Charlotte's like really close to the border, so
Charlotte is on the border. Some people think that part of Charlotte is in the other one. Like, is it in South Carolina? Is it North Carolina? I don't know.
Charlotte is North Carolina, right? That's where we're going.
officially, yes, it is in North Carolina. Yeah, it's pretty close to the border.
Is it Charlottetown that's in South Carolina? Is there anything in South Carolina?
I have to fact check that. We'll see.
Is there anything in South Carolina? I know you.
Someone had explained to me how Charlotte's one of those that some people think are, I don't know, parts of it are in South Carolina. I don't know. I don't know because I have not been to either of the Carolinas other than pass through. I have never spent any time there, but I have passed through there either driving or transit via train or air.
Well, that's already better than what I've got. The only place in the eastern U.S. I've been to is Florida.
Which part of
Is
Florida?
Atlanta? Do you guys consider Atlanta in the east, or is that
Atlanta is the East Coast? Yes.
Yeah, it's the East Coast.
I draw the line at the Mississippi. So if you're east of the Mississippi, you're on the East Coast.
East Coast, yeah.
You're on the west of the Mississippi, you're missing out.
West Coast.
You know what's confusing? The Midwest. The Midwest is not west at all.
Yeah, I don't think anyone care.
Well, it's because you're in the middle, but you're west of the Mississippi.
That is true. That is where it's come from.
This is where it comes from. The Mississippi is the east-west line.
Yeah,
but the Mississippi is pretty east, isn't it?
Yes. That's why it's the line for the East Coast. But now people
and
went
you're
on
just
the
in
other
the
side.
middle of the west side of the Mississippi.
No, like 2/3 of the country are west of the Mississippi. I guess that goes back to like population stuff, but
well, I mean, if you can look at the population and where business is and stuff. But again, it's the East Coast is east of the Mississippi. West Coast is on the west coast of the ocean, and then in between is Midwest.
Yeah. Thank you.
Good
All
luck
I know
trying to
is
figure that out. Just like which user group meeting do I go to?
Where's the east? Is there a middle part of the east side?
No, there is only one east.
I guess there is
Yes,
a
there
Mid-East.
is. There is a Mid-East, but it's not in the United States.
Oh, it's so confusing.
See, this is what we do in this world.
Just like the English language, so confusing.
That's true. Do you
English
guys know
language is
about the
not
chef
confusing.
that demarks what the Midwest is?
Say that again?
The chef, the like picture of the man in the chef's hat.
Oh yeah, the Kentucky. Is that what you're talking about? Yeah,
he's frying a chicken.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound like Brad knows about
You
that.
haven't seen that, Brad? There's an image of like someone drew it, and it's like the Midwest, and it's like a chef holding a chicken, and it's a shape of Kentucky. Look it up.
Yeah.
It is pretty interesting. And then like
chef
the very
holding
top,
chicken in the hidden. Oh yeah, I see that. The chef hat, the head, the shirt, the pants, the boots, the pan. That doesn't look like a chef to me. That looks a little sick. Kentucky Fried Chicken right here. See, that's good. I like that. That's good. Louisiana's the boots. I like that. Tennessee's the pan. Kentucky's the chicken. That's great.
Yeah.
Wisconsin's the hat. Okay,
Well,
I like
speaking
that.
of geography and pants, I once had a dream that I invaded the U.S. on behalf of the Canadian Army and and renamed it to Canada's Pants. So that tells you about my knowledge of U.S. geography. It is very little.
Now, and he's also having a dream where the Canadian Army's invaded the United States.
Yeah, where we even have an army.
That's what I was going to say. Do you even have an army?
No,
You know, I know we do, but I think it's more like they do research. Like our Navy just like looks for orcas and tags them and stuff.
No, that's important. I am into preserving animals, nature. I'm more for sparing animals, and well, I won't say anything, but that stuff's very important. But I don't know if that's the army. That may be like a corps of
No, you know what
engineers or
our real
something.
army is? It's called being friends with the U.S. Like if you have a neighbor who's like just overprotective of the whole neighborhood, you don't need to do anything. You have a neighborhood who's super active in the neighborhood watch.
You're absolutely correct, because your neighbor doesn't want anybody bad coming into their neighborhood.
Yeah,
Therefore, they'll keep the bad out of you because you're in the hood.
yeah, you
yeah.
just bring him. You just bring over some food, and it's like, hey, I'll cook you something. Here's some barbecue,
Maple syrup. We'll supply.
maple syrup.
That's
I
too
think
much.
that's a fair exchange. Maple syrup for security.
I don't know about that. We have plenty of maple syrup of our own up in the Northeast, so we don't need that Canadian stuff.
They need some
Maybe
from the west side.
Yeah.
I don't listen. I'm on the east side of the Mississippi.
Oh man,
I don't need
That's
anything west of it. We have everything we need over here.
How long ago do you guys think people tuned out?
This is the fun part of the conversation, you know.
Who knows? We'll have to see. But we just have to make sure, Chris. You'll have to put all the shorts out and the tags of the minutes to get people to listen.
Oh yeah, we'll certainly do that.
So you'll get it. But and also, Khaled, it doesn't matter. We're having fun.
I love it.
I do this if we can change one life as part of this podcast, and even if it just ends up being the three of us talking, then I'm happy.
Thank you. I feel the same way. You know, it's important. We're showing that there's humans again, and
Yes.
and we're bridging the generational divide. Extending an olive branch to the dinosaurs, and
And the dinosaurs aren't eating you.
that's true.
And it does show that you can have a community that is all encompassing and inclusive
Yes.
of age as well, which is a very important note.
Yeah. That's no. I like in all seriousness, I do think that there is a little bit of a problem where like we're gonna have a lot of the talent starting to kind of tune out of some of the conferences, and maybe they're not as actively pursuing like every single session they can because they want to focus on their personal life. And so we do need to make sure that the wealth of knowledge is not like something that disappears, and it's important to have conversations. And so yeah, for like even though it's futures and dynamics, I want to encourage anyone who's interested to join and like, have discussions in the forum and everything. It's
And what a good way to leave some legacy, though. Like you being able to help someone get into the space that that you've been part of for a long time. I think that's a great legacy. Uh, we have
think
to
so,
sign up
too.
and be a mentor. Brad, come on.
I will sign up
All right.
next week. No, I'll sign up now, and I just need another week or so, and I'll become active again. I also have to put together a few presentations, so
Yeah.
that's important too. But Khaled, thank you very much for joining us again. We will definitely have you back on, and we'll have to have another topic of comedy. We'll call it the Kris, Khaled, and Brad Comedy Hour, and maybe we'll have an umbrella with us at the time.
that sounds great. Thank you so much both for having me.
All right, thank you.
Thank you,
Before you leave, can you tell everyone? We'll put a link to the form for the Futures and Dynamics in the show notes because it's too much to say. But how else can somebody get in contact with you or see some of the other great things that you were doing for this wonderful community of ours.
Yeah, thank you. Well, there's a few different ways. If you go on LinkedIn, it's just Khaled Nassra, which is my name, in case anyone has listened to this whole podcast and didn't know it. You can also go on community.directionsforpartners.com and access the Futures in Dynamics group. We also have a LinkedIn group that you can join, or a page. And then for my own personal business that I'm growing, go to go, like go, and then the number 4, Enki, enki.com, and you can get my new website. So
excellent.
All of these things are great ways to connect with me.
We'll have to check that out and put that in the show notes as well. All right.
Sounds great.
All right. Thank you very
so
much.
All right, take care,
Have a
Khaled.
good day. Ciao, ciao.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Kris, for your time for another episode of In the Dynamics Corner Chair. And thank you to our guests for participating.
Thank you, Brad, for your time. It is a wonderful episode of Dynamics Corner Chair. I would also like to thank our guests for joining us. Thank you for all of our listeners tuning in as well. You can find Brad at developerlife.com. That is DVLPRLIFE.com. And you can interact with them via Twitter, DVLPRLIFE. You can also find me at matalino.io, matalino.io. And my Twitter handle is matalino16. And you can see those links down below in the show notes. Again, thank you, everyone. Thank you, and take care.